Every single month, millions of people sit down, look at their bank statement and think the same thing. Where did all of this go? Not because they made a massive financial mistake, not because of a medical emergency, not because they lost their job. It went away quietly, in small pieces, in moments of excitement, boredom, or stress. One click here, one extra item at the checkout there, one "I deserve this" moment on a Friday afternoon. And before the end of the month, the account is dry again. This is not a story about discipline. It is not about being weak or irresponsible. This is about something that happens inside your brain before you even realize a decision has been made. And if you do not understand how that mechanism works, you will keep losing money to it for the rest of your life. Let's talk about impulse buying, not as a moral failure. As a neurological pattern that was never designed with your financial future in mind. Your brain is incredibly old. The part responsible for emotional reactions, desire, and reward has been with the human species for hundreds of thousands of years. It was built to respond immediately to stimuli: see food, eat food, feel threatened, run, feel pleasure, pursue it again. This is the same system that activates when you see a sale notification on your phone, when you scroll through a product feed, when you walk past a display window and something catches your eye. That system does not ask, "Do I actually need this?" It does not calculate whether this purchase fits your monthly budget. It does not consider whether you already have 3 similar items at home. It simply says, "Want it, get it, feel good now." And the modern commercial world was built, intentionally and precisely, to speak directly to that system. Everything about the design of a store, physical or digital, is engineered to accelerate the time between desire and purchase. Countdown timers. Only 2 left in stock. Bright colors at the point of sale. Free shipping if you add just 1 more item. Buy now, pay later. These are not conveniences. They are triggers. And they work not because people are naive, but because they are human. Here is how the pattern usually unfolds. You are not in a particularly bad mood, but you are not in a great one either. You are a little tired, a little bored, maybe slightly stressed from the week. You pick up your phone or walk into a store without a specific purpose. You see something. There is a small rush of excitement. Your brain releases a bit of dopamine, not because you bought the product, but because you are about to. The anticipation itself is the reward. You buy it. The dopamine drops almost immediately. Within hours or sometimes minutes, the item is already forgotten, the excitement is gone. But the money is also gone. And the worst part is that this process often leaves a residue of mild shame. You know, on some level, that you did not really need it, so you do not count it clearly in your mind. You do not track it. You rationalize it. It was on sale. It was just a small thing. I worked hard this week. And because you do not account for it honestly, you also do not see the full pattern. One small purchase is nothing, but the average person makes dozens of these micro decisions every single week. Added together, they can represent a significant portion of your monthly income, evaporating into things that brought about 10 minutes of emotional relief and zero long-term value. Now let's be honest about a belief that keeps people stuck here. Most people, when they think about impulse buying, imagine it only in extreme cases. They picture someone who drops $1,000 on electronics they cannot afford, or fills a shopping cart with clothes and then returns half of them. They do not picture themselves because their individual purchases seem small. I only spent $15 on that. It was just a coffee machine. I just grabbed a few things while I was already at the store. The scale disguises the problem. You are not looking at one decision. You are looking at a behavioral pattern that repeats across every week, every month, every year. The issue is not the single purchase. It is the invisible total. And that total, for most people, is something they have never actually calculated, because doing so would be uncomfortable. There is also a very common story people tell themselves about spending as a form of reward. I have been working so hard. I deserve to treat myself. This belief is not entirely wrong. Rest and reward are genuinely important. But when your main emotional reset button is spending money, you are borrowing against your own future stability to feel okay in the present. The problem is not the reward. The problem is the currency you are using to give it to yourself. At this point, you might be thinking about control, about willpower, about just being stronger next time. But that is not the right frame. Willpower is a limited resource. It depletes throughout the day. Trying to white-knuckle your way out of impulse buying by simply deciding not to is like trying to outrun a car. You might win once, but you cannot keep that up indefinitely. The actual shift happens not by fighting the impulse in the moment. It happens by redesigning the environment and the process so that the impulse rarely gets the chance to convert into a purchase. If you find that content like this helps you think differently about money, Mind of Value exists precisely for that. It is not about quick fixes. It is about building the mental clarity that financial decisions actually require. Here is what that redesign looks like in practice. It starts with the simplest and most underestimated habit in personal finance, the waiting period. Before any unplanned purchase, you commit to waiting a set amount of time, 24 hours for small items. "72 hours for anything more significant, not to torture yourself, but to let the dopamine spike settle. In most cases, when you return to that purchase the next day, you either forgot about it completely or the urgency is gone. The desire was real. The need never was. The second shift is removing friction from saving and adding friction to spending. Most people do the opposite. They make it effortless to spend with saved card details, one-click purchasing, stored credentials everywhere. And they make saving require effort, a separate step, a deliberate action they take when they remember. Reverse that. Automate a transfer to a savings account on payday before you have the chance to spend it. Require a few more steps to complete an online purchase. Delete saved card information. Add small, deliberate obstacles that give your rational brain time to catch up to your emotional one. The third shift is building awareness of your emotional triggers. Most impulse buying is not random. It is tied to specific states: boredom, stress, feeling overlooked or undervalued. The moment you recognize, "I tend to spend money when I'm anxious," or "I always end up buying things I do not need on Sunday nights," you have already moved a level above the pattern. You cannot change what you cannot see. And seeing it clearly without judgment is the first form of financial intelligence. This does not require a spreadsheet or a financial advisor. It requires honest observation. What was I feeling before I made that purchase? Was I responding to something real, or was I responding to a signal that someone else designed specifically to make me react? The fourth practical shift is building a want list rather than buying on impulse. When you see something you want, write it down. Come back to it in a week. Some things will stay on the list because they are genuinely useful or meaningful. Most will disappear naturally because the desire was temporary. The list becomes a filter between the emotional impulse and the financial action. None of these steps will make you a perfect financial decision maker overnight. That is not the goal. The goal is to shrink the gap between what you spend and what you actually intended to spend. Even a modest reduction in unplanned spending, applied consistently over months, creates room. Room to breathe, room to save, room to start making actual financial progress rather than just surviving until the next paycheck. Here is the thing that matters most in all of this. Impulse buying is not a character flaw. It is a design vulnerability. You were put inside a commercial environment that spent billions of dollars learning how to exploit very specific psychological patterns. You were never taught how those patterns work, and you were never taught that understanding them is part of managing your own finances. The people who are most financially stable are not necessarily the most disciplined in some abstract moral sense. They are the people who understand what triggers their spending behavior and who have built simple, low-effort systems that protect them from acting on every impulse that gets manufactured for them. You are not weak for wanting things. You are human. The question is whether you are going to keep letting that be used against you, or whether you are going to start understanding the game well enough to make conscious choices inside it. Your brain wants a reward. Give it one that does not cost you your future.